Hello, everyone. On March 11, 1943, Bulgarian occupation authorities organized the early morning roundup and subsequent deportation from Skopje of 98% of the entire Vardar Macedonian Jewish population. Nearly 8,000 victims were shipped by the Bulgarian National Railway to the Polish death camps at Treblinka. Some died in transit, while the remaining Macedonians were killed upon arrival. 80 years later, the Jewish population in modern North Macedonia remains less than 150. Now, several years ago, a question arose as an aside in a study by Holocaust historian Dr. Holly Case from Brown University in her 2013 study, The Holocaust in Macedonia, Bringing the Dark Past to Light, where it explored the reception of the Holocaust in post-communist Europe. The question asked the following: how did the Jewish question of the early 19th century and the Macedonian question of the latter 19th century go hand in hand toward realizing the mid-20th century Macedonian dream of state creation? According to Case, the answer would fill a largely unexplored gap in Macedonian historiography. This dissertation takes up this question and uses Vardar Macedonia as a case study. Dr. Case's study demonstrated that such an inquiry was interesting for a couple of reasons. First, it was historically credible. It was a question that regarded the regional rather than the prescribed national use of the elements of collective shared memory that deviated from the authorized Yugoslavian wartime memorialization. And Macedonia was one of the six Yugoslav federal republics at the time. Yugoslavian war memory emphasized the collective suffering of the people. Under the Titoist motto, brotherhood and unity, one group's suffering was not greater than another's. Secondly, 10 years after the publication of Legacies, the question still lingers unanswered and continued to avoid serious academic investigation regarding the incorporations of Holocaust memory within the historical institutions of 21st century North Macedonia. Dr. Case suggested that these were more cultural than political, probably, but more study was needed. And here I am. Macedonian Holocaust historiography involves 8 decades of evolving interpretations and scholarly debates within the Balkans. Holocaust historian Stephen Tropes has written that significant decades-long gaps in Holocaust research and publishing in North Macedonia continue. Tropes opines, in general, it can be said that historians in Skopje, with few exceptions, neglected Holocaust history completely. The sole exception during this period was Professor Alexander Matkovsky from the National University in Skopje, known for his detailed works in the tragedy of the Jews, 1958, his work called The Holocaust in Macedonia, 1993, which provided a comprehensive examination of the Holocaust impact on Macedonia. Dr. Matkovsky focused on the distinctiveness of a national experience and how anti-Semitic occupation policies had enabled the swift and nearly total annihilation of Macedonian Jews. His work reflects the broader nationalistic turn in Macedonian historiography, emphasizing Macedonian suffering and Bulgarian culpability in an oppositional context. Increased access to archives and the growth of Holocaust studies as an international field in the 2000s saw more nuanced transnational approaches to the Macedonian Holocaust. Mitchman, 2013, sought to contextualize the Macedonian Jewish experience within broader Balkan patterns of Holocaust victimization. Ristevsky's The Holocaust in the Balkans, a comparative analysis, compares the experience of the Jews across the entire Balkan region, suggesting that Balkan Jews faced a particularly harsh treatment due to Bulgaria's unique position as both an Axis ally and an occupation force, as well as being a neighbor. Additionally, the Macedonian historian Milan Ristovic, in Remembering for the Future, 2001, argues that the Bulgarian government's active role in the deportations cannot be dismissed as mere compliance with Nazi demands. This text reflects a more recent critical accountability-driven approach that has become prevalent on historians who focus on uncovering all contributing factors to the tragedy. The 80th anniversary of the 43 deportations spurred new research and renewed interest in public memory. Due to the increase in Holocaust memorials, new museums, and the surge of the last survivors' interviews and publications. Particular interest was renewed in the Balkans, where descendants of Holocaust survivors and those who perished as a result of the deportations from the new territories fueled public debate regarding Bulgaria's wartime role. In the spring of 1942, in accordance with the final solution Nazi officials had pressured the Bulgarian government to transfer all Jews within its borders into German custody. Highest level Bulgarian authorities complied, but did so only in the occupied new territories of Vardar and Aegean Macedonia. No Jews within Bulgaria's old borders were deported. Post-war communist Bulgaria was very careful not to incriminate the new national pride. Todorov writes in The Fragility of Goodness, 2001, that Marxist historians adopted narratives that the deportations of Macedonian Jews were unavoidable to appease Nazi bloodlust, thereby saving 48,000 Bulgarians in the old territories. Consequently, this act of saving was deemed as a rescue. There's some logic right there. Ragaru in 2024 opines that this unique explanation has remained problematic to this day. This study is significant for a variety of factors. Firstly, the primary historiographical issues continues to exist. The historiography reveals less than 5 serious academic research studies have been completed in the last 15 years, while the public interest has increased and gained renewed momentum from film, from literature, from partisan war memoirs such as those from Kosta Albakov and Zamila Kolonomos, which remain wildly popular. These memoirs focus on the brutal nature of the war, a willingness to die for Macedonia rather than Yugoslavia, and the nationalist perspective of collective memory, and that's centered on the deported fellow citizens and neighbors, viewing the Holocaust through a Macedonian rather than a purely Jewish lens. Conversely, Bulgarian scholars such as Michael Bar-Zohar presented interpretations that emphasize the coercive aspects of the German occupation, and presents Bulgarian involvement as largely reluctant, pressure by the Nazis, and thus avoiding any Bulgarian responsibility for the deportations. A critical time now exists for these historical issues to find consensus. If left unresolved, serious consequences for the European Union expansion exists. Macedonian Holocaust historiography has become a political issue. In 2024, NATO partners, North Macedonia and Bulgaria, are arguing about how history is being taught in each country. Bulgaria says it will veto North Macedonian entry into the EU unless required guarantees are given that historical narratives coming from North Macedonia do not impugn the dignity of the Bulgarian nation. This investigation then seeks some objective regional consensus in historical scholarship, just as access to archives has improved and historiographical approaches have diversified. The field of study increasingly recognizes the complexity of culpability, moving towards a more balanced view, acknowledging Bulgarian collaboration and the recognition that the Macedonian Holocaust is a constituent part of a deeper institution of the North Macedonian state, and the ultimate role of the Nazi-driven genocide in the tragic fate of Macedonian Jews. Thank you.